Okay, I'm Travis D. Semora at Travis Texin on several social medias. And what I'm going to start talking about today is reality awareness and transformative action. RAGTAG, a reality awareness group, and transformative action goals. I've got a list of topics, and I've got like 20 topics I'm going to talk about, but I'm not going to do them all in one video. I'm going to be doing this over a series of videos. Today I'm going to talk about 4 different things. I'm going to introduce with some scripture, talk about struggles, being prepared to meet social disorder, and building resiliency. It's really important, and I'll get into more of that in a little bit. But I'm going to be on a lot of different social media, Getter.com, Instagram, Truth Social, and Substack.com. So you'll be able to find me in a lot of different places. And I'm going to be referencing a lot of folks that are experts on some of these topics. Michael Yon, Mike Adams, even David Goggins for motivation and determination. The Free Burma Rangers is an example of people that know how to overcome obstacles. And give you a little background on me. I'm a retired Houston police officer. I did 25 years at Houston PD. I was, of course, worked patrol or worked vice, criminal intelligence, and I was on several federal task forces, mostly counter narcotics, and worked some other sheriff's offices, and then essentially, to keep it simple, 2008, 2010, and July 13 to March 14, I was working in Afghanistan as a contractor. I'm not a veteran, but I was embedded with U.S. Army and National Guard as a contractor, and we worked in the field with Afghan police. And I've got some particular observations about that, not so much on the combat side, but on communities and chaos and how those communities deal with that. So those are some of the things that I'm going to be getting into. To go back and start with some scripture relative to all these things, and you'll understand that I'm talking about more or less prepping, but and somewhat on the physical aspects of it, but a lot on the mindset, okay? And part of the mindset ties into Philippians 4. Okay, one of the things I'm going to talk about is some scripture, and you might say, well, I know Travis Texin, and he's done a bunch of sinning. Well, yeah, I have. Matter of fact, if you've done as much sinning as I have, or you've done some sinning with me, honk your horn. You know. Oh, come on now. Cut. That was enough. You get the point. But I'm going to read the scripture anyway. Aspects of it, but a lot on the mindset. Okay, and part of the mindset ties into Philippians 4, verses 12 through 13, and it says, I know how to get along with little, and I also know how to live in prosperity. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of being filled and going hungry, both of having abundance and suffering need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. So keep that scripture in mind as we go through this. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is struggles, and struggles are real, and why they're real. We want to protect ourselves, our family, and our community. That's basically what it's about, and our nation. So, what's this all about? We all know that there's been a lot of cultural change in the United States, and we're seeing a lot more violence on community and state and federal level, and worldwide we're seeing a lot more violence, and a lot of it's directed against Christians or different ethnic groups or religious groups that wasn't happening a few years ago. Christians in particular are under more and more scrutiny, and some people are even saying that, like in Australia, there was a domestic terrorism expert said that if you believe in the last book of the Bible, Revelations, that you should be referred to authorities as possible domestic terrorists. Those issues are real. I'm not going to get too much into politics. There's clowns on the left and jokers on the right. You could say a lot of different things about our political parties, but clowns on the left, jokers on the right. And, so a lot of this is real. They're talking about, a lot of different people are talking about the threat to our food supply, and they're trying to go all electric. We can't do that. That's not going to happen. So if we have some conflict with those things, that's going to create real social disorder and chaos. Michael Yon, and I'm going to reference him a lot through all my videos, has a little acronym he developed called PAN for War. It stands for Pandemic, Famine, and War. He says pandemic always follows with famine, and famine always follows with war. There are things on the international news that you can look and see fairly easily that in the Netherlands they're seizing the farms and they're shutting down farming, and they won't do that here to some extent in the United States. You got to quit farming, and your cows are tearing up the atmosphere because they breathe and whatever. And these things are going on. Those things will contribute toward a shortage of food, and that can be real. And they've already announced we're going to have another pandemic. You won't see that on some of the mainstream media. You will to some extent, but it's some of these alternative media like Getter.com, Brighteon.com. Some of those you'll see more about that. So, it's just understand that PAN for War is a great acronym, and it relates to a lot of reality that's happening in our world today. So we're faced with all these problems and all these issues. So as a person, an individual, or a community group, in a state and nation, how do we deal with that? We deal with that through building resiliency. When I was in law enforcement and I was in the academy at the start of my career in 1974, they would show us pictures of homicides and things, and not too many videos, mostly pictures, and they would say, you will see this. So in seeing those pictures, it built resiliency. And then when you started working the street, you start making the bad car wrecks, the homicides, suicides, whatever, you're seeing more of that tragedy, and depending on how you resolve it within yourself, you build resiliency. You can build resiliency where you get a homicide call, shooting, 2 people down, you kind of got in your head, okay, I understand what I'm going to, and you build resiliency. Later on, when I was working overseas, before we went over the first time, I went over as a contractor. We had a 2-week school we went to, and they showed us a lot of videos of combat. Some of the guys that had been over previous to us had dash cams and body cams, and they had been ambushed, and we had those videos from those ambushes, guys going down, being lost. That built resiliency. We also had wargaming during that class where they used simunitions, not just rifle and pistol simunitions, but also mortar and explosives. So as we were driving into an area during this class, practicing vehicle down in reaction to contact or combat, we had mortars going off, dirt flying, and it was just explosions set off underneath the surface of the ground that blew dirt all over you. But they were pretty loud and pretty accurately depicted what it's like to be shot at with an RPG or encounter an IED. I did have that experience in 2008 in Tagab District, Kapisa Province, Afghanistan. So I'll tell you that training was pretty accurate, and it did help build resiliency. and with the Army later, I was embedded with the regular U.S. Army, and as we went through our CRC and everything, they had MRAP training where they put us in an MRAP that was suspended, and they would actually spin that MRAP slowly and then tell you wherever they stopped it, now figure out how to get out. And it was a practice under safe conditions, and we practiced unbelting. You know, if we were upside down, we had to unbelt, take off seat belts and harnesses, and then find the open hatch and get out. So, you know, those things build resiliencies. Another thing, and I've studied a lot of this, a lot on this, and I've studied critical incident stress management. And one of the things that can happen if you just discuss an issue where you could be harmed or meet the threat of harm, if you discuss that, even in discussion, you're building resiliency. So that's part of what I want to accomplish. I want, reality awareness group, reality awareness, be aware of what potentially is going on in our culture, our communities, our state, our nation, and worldwide. And then transformative action, goals. Transform, and when I say transform, I'm talking about from uncertainty to clarity, and from fearful to determined and confident. You can do those things a lot with just discussion. You watch my videos, hear what I've got to say, then reflect on your own experiences and experiences of people in your circle of influence. You may have veterans in your family or emergency first responders that have had different experiences. I'm not saying I've had every experiences, but I've had a lot. 25 years with Houston PD, worked street a fair amount, and I worked counties for 4 years after that. And, I've seen a lot of human tragedy, and I've had to have my reactions to being involved in some of that tragedy as it happened. And then overseas, we were out in the field more days than we were on the base. And so, you go out in the field in Afghanistan and work with the Afghan police, it's going to get loud occasionally, and things are going to happen. I've been with guys getting TBI, going down beside me. Everybody survived at the time. So I've had those experiences, and I can tell you that training and discussion has an impact. And on the transformative side, it's not just going to be like on reaction to threat. Some of it's just going to be preparedness. Think carefully about, how do you want to deal with these things that we're facing? I'm going to talk about, there's the threat of nuclear war. Our mainstream media is talking about the threat of nuclear war with Russia and to a lesser extent China, and is China going to invade Taiwan? What's China going to do? All these things. So if somebody pops off some nuclear devices in the United States, what's the reality of that? And I've got some stuff I'm going to share with you. There's some myth versus reality. A nuclear winter is not likely to happen at all. But, there'll be some damage. And so how do we react to that, and what's the reality of it? And, it just goes on down the line. Food, water, storage and preparation, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, shelter, food, water. Then you have love, and, you're not going to be worrying about self-actualization at that point if you're struggling to find food, shelter, and water. But we'll talk through all that stuff. There's, how do you communicate? Comms, communication are a big deal. Occasionally I'll use some abbreviations. I'll try to, I'm not a veteran, but I was embedded with them for 3 years, and so I may throw out one of those acronyms every now and then, but I'll try to keep it plain language. And I'm not going to be doing 1 hour and 2 hour videos. Some of these topics I'm going to be talking about, there's some great videos out there, and I'm going to give references to them where they talk an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Alex Jones puts out a lot of 3 hour videos. He has a lot of great content, Sometimes even I find his manner of presentation a little bit grating, but he has some great content and great interviews with people that have great content to add to his. And a lot of those people now are putting out their own material, and I'll be sharing links to that. I think it'd be better suited for you in what I'm trying to do, have reality awareness and transformational action. I think it'd be better for us to just talk through this for a few minutes and me give you some of those references. There's on occasion I do 1 hour, 2 hour drives to get somewhere to take care of something, and I'm able to listen to those 1 hour, 2 hour podcasts. I try to walk over an hour every morning so I can listen for an hour and a half while I'm exercising and get in some of those 1 hour and 2 hour podcasts. So we all have our habits and our ways of doing things, and I'm going to try to be short and to the point. This video is an introduction. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll be posting some Google documents and some other things to my videos so that you can go down and look. I'll have the full list of the topics I want to cover and some things like that as go along. And so you'll be able to see those documents and other podcasts as is convenient for you. But I'm going to try to keep my stuff to 10, 15, 20 minutes. Maybe I prefer 10, where we can cover some topics, get through it. I'll be setting up a YouTube channel and possibly channels on some of these other sources like Getter.com, Brighteon.com. I'll be trying to set up a channel, but at least on YouTube where you can watch this video and they'll all be listed there, and I'll be adding more into the videos as I become more technically expert. So I appreciate your time. Okay, this is Travis again, and just want to let you know I am doing some affiliate marketing. You see Radio Didity, what a great name. But they've got a complete line of ham radios, GMRS radios, and accessories, antennas, all that. And I wanted you to see that I'm on some other social media. I'm there on Instagram, Twitter, Substack, Getter, Truth Social, and that is my YouTube channel there. And as I post these videos, I've got 21 topics, but it'll probably be around 12, 14 videos. Please take a look. And if you need some radios, check out Radio Didity, my link. Thank you.